We even saw the Minority Leadership Schumer go on and also support it to a lot of the Democratic leadership and everything in between disliking that process, even though he said he would not. It was a 180-degree turn that no one expected. But to Schumer, his reasoning was basically, well, why are we stopping government? We need to continue moving forward because those impacted are your government employees who rely on their paychecks to cover ends meet, pay rent, etc. Welcome to the Political Maverick, the podcast that keeps you informed, engaged, and entertained on all things current events. Let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to the Political Maverick podcast. I'm Jaime Rojas. Some quick topics that we can discuss today. As everyone knows, there was a nail biter back in D.C. in regards to funding the government and putting together a bill that would continue funding the federal government until the end of the fiscal year at the end of September. So what happened? March 15th was the final deadline. Both the Senate was going to finalize and vote on the bill that the House earlier had supported and passed as well. So the House of Representatives had their discussions, debates, passed on March 11th, 217 to 213 vote, mostly along the party lines, which to no one's surprise. And then the Senate, as I mentioned, approved the budget on March 14th with a 54-46 vote with many disagreements, as we saw on the Democratic side. We even saw the Minority Leadership Schumer go on and also support it to a lot of the Democratic leadership and everything in between disliking that process, even though he said he would not. It was a 180-degree turn that no one expected. But to Schumer, his reasoning was basically, well, why are we stopping government? We need to continue moving forward because those impacted are your government employees who rely on their paychecks to cover ends meet, pay rent, etc. So a little bit about what was cut and what wasn't. So we saw more on defense funds being added, and to an estimate number of $6 billion that was increased for military spending and defense. Money that was reduced, we saw a total of about $13 billion overall across the board. Immigration enforcement got nearly $10 billion extra dollars, while some health and emergency programs lost some funding. Local projects, we saw almost $15.9 billion in local projects being cut that Congress, as we hear, earmarks or community grant programs. Projects from fire trucks, water, sewer systems, roads, bridges, improvements to the overall local economic development across the United States. Those $15.9 billion that were appropriated or earmarked or tagged as great projects throughout the United States were basically cut out of the budget. And this was across the board with no exceptions for this fiscal year ending in 2025. So to a lot of surprise, projects, municipalities, special districts, we saw that their dollars literally evaporated. Even though they may have had projects ready to fund, ready to move forward, those will now be hopefully reapplied for fiscal year 2026, which is coming up now. Those different application processes, both in the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. So overall, these community project fundings got a huge hit. They've been reduced little by little in the past couple of fiscal year budget processes. And Congress has to make a decision as well with that the president. They're going to be moving forward for fiscal year 26. We'll see what happens and keep everyone posted on that. We'll continue tracking and sending updates to our podcast members and followers. So keep tuning on to next time. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to the Political Maverick. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and X for updates. Catch every episode on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. See you next time.